I started this flow with a couple things not added for the demonstration just because I didn't want to take up too much time on the video, but we'll go through every element and how to do each of it. And then we'll also do a couple things with assignments here. So I did intentionally get rid of a few on that piece. So to create a flow, you all should know how to do that by now, but we can go back and just go how to do that. So we're going to go ahead and click new flow. And then we'll click record triggered. So this is a record triggered flow. And then you'll get something like this. So what we would want to do for this specific use case is we're going to do the opportunities, the object that we're going to go off of. And a record is updated. And so remember, I did say that this was going to be for whenever an opportunity was updated to closed one. So we're just going to go ahead and make that condition criteria whenever the stage name equals closed one. And then in this piece, when to run the flow for updated records, we're going to do only when the record is updated to meet the condition requirements. The next piece here, optimize for flow, fast field updates, or action and related records. So this is really just before save or after save. These are, you'll even see it in here in italics, so before or after. For this flow, we're doing after because we're touching multiple objects other than the originating opportunity that we're working with. But if you were just doing same record updates, you would choose before. And we'll touch on the difference between these two and some use cases for this in a later video. So we'll go back to this tab here. So you'll see in my start criteria opportunity, record is updated, and then only when a record is updated meets the condition requirements, and then after save. So this next piece is pretty vital. So the way that I like to structure some flows like this is to front load everything I need to get off the top. So you'll see here we have 3 gets right in a row. And then what we're doing is this opportunity that's closed one likely and should have some products on it. So basically telling us what we've sold. It has some op contact roles on it, which basically tells us who we sold it to. And then we're creating a renewal off the top because that's originally what we need to do. So starting with the get product here, how you do this is you're going to go ahead and hit the plus button. We're going to come to create or to get records. We're going to call it whatever we want. So in this case, get products. I'm going to add 2 S's because I already have one there. And then products on opportunities are actually called opportunity line items. So you can type in opportunity product or opportunity line item. We're going to go ahead and do that. And then you'll get this piece here. So it'll be filter opportunity product records. So what we want to do when we're getting these records, we want to make sure that we're getting the products that were on the opportunity that ran or started this flow. So what we're going to type in here is opportunity ID. So we're saying the opportunity ID on these opportunity products equals the opportunity ID of the record that ran the flow or started the flow. And then which records to store. So we don't just want one product, we want all of them. And we're going to automatically store all fields. So I'm going to hit cancel. You're going to hit done. But we essentially want to do that for products. And you'll see here the completed version of that. So the same thing we just built. Opportunity product, opportunity ID equals the records opportunity ID. So the opportunity ID of the opportunity product is equal to the opportunity ID of the record. That's that ran the flow, started the flow, and then we're storing all records. We're going to do that same thing with op contact roles. So we'll get the opportunity contact role, same thing, op ID equals record opportunity ID, all records, and automatically store all fields. And so that's another thing that I wanted to call out as well. So the people on an opportunity are a junction object called opportunity contact role. And there are some nuances to opportunity contact role, similar to the nuances that exist with products, but that's, not super important for this. Next, for this use case, we do want to create the renewal. So I'm creating just one record, and then I'm just naming the actual fields that I want to create. So the account ID equals the records account ID. So the opportunities account that ran the flow. We want the exact same account to have this renewal opportunity that we're creating. So that's why we're saying record account ID here. So this is saying the account ID on this new record, we want it to equal the account ID of the record or the opportunity that started the flow. And then for my use case, I'm adding, amount, I have name, I'm putting a naming convention in here. So we're using a variable with renewal. We want the owner to stay the same. We're setting the stage, and then we're setting the type of the actual opportunity. And then for close date, you do have to name close date and stage when creating an opportunity. On this one, I'm just saying 8/31/2023, sometime in the future. But there's a lot of ways to do this through fields or through formulas to say like, oh, a year from today or 3 months from today or whatever it is. This would be for your biz case. But if you have any questions on that, you can just throw it in a comment, and I'll be able to answer that for you. So this is where the first piece of our logic comes in, and what makes what starts to make this a little difficult. So underneath your 3 gets, you're gonna hit the plus button. You're gonna go to decision. So you're gonna create a decision path for what the flow needs to do. So the first decision we need to make, and I name these, they're pretty verbose, but you know exactly what it's doing. So for me, I call this does close one op have products. And then for outcome order, we just say yes. And then what we're making that decision, so what passes basically this side of the decision element is the opportunity product from get products is null is false. And then we only go forward if the condition requirements are met. So to create that, I'll just do it again. I'll hit cancel, you'll hit done. We'll go to decision. Does op have products? New outcome. We don't want it to say new outcome or default outcome. We just want it to say yes or no. So I like to come in through here and just change these to yes or no, so it just looks nicer. And then the criteria here is, so we're actually saying, does it have products? So that get that we ran, so the opportunity product from get products is null, false. What this means is opportunity products, did we find none? No, then it means that there are some. It's kind of like that double negative backwards way of doing things. So it's just is null false means that there are products present. Is null true would mean that there are not products present. So in this case, we want products to be we want to find products in that get product. So I hit cancel, you hit done, then you'll get this that'll split into a yes and a no. And then that basically sets you up for a yes and no path within the decision. So we're up here on the decision portion, yes and no. We're solving for yes. So basically what we're saying, does close one op have products? Yes, it does, which most of them probably should. Then we want to go down this path and start automating that side. So the way that your flow would look right now would be very different from mine, but we need to start at the very top with a couple things. So the first thing we would create is the actual loop. So we're going to go ahead and hit the plus button. So you hit plus, come over here to loop. And then you can name it really anything. So for me, I like to be pretty clear about what I'm doing. This is the creation of products loop, and the collection variable is get products. And specifying the directions is basically first to last or last to first. Really doesn't matter in this case, but in the for future stuff, if you're looping through different things, it could matter how you order them. So just be careful with how you do that. And then next, you see I've created an assignment variable here. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go through creating a single record variable. So a single record variable, basically what that does is it allows us to iterate over a single record in the loop and define what those fields on that record in the loop are, and then prepare to create a new record with some of those values based on what's already in the loop. So to go through that specifically, like this get products here, let's say we got 3 records. We're storing those 3 records in this piece here. When we reach this loop here, what we're saying is collection variable get products. Those 3 products, they are now in the loop. And then the piece where it said, sort from first to last, we're then basically saying, the order of that we're going to throw them through this loop. So if you imagine a single record going through this loop, 1, 2, 3, then that's essentially what we're doing here. So we're saying the first record that goes through the loop, boom, hit this assignment variable, take its values and add them to our new record, then the second one, then the third one, et cetera, et cetera. The reason why you don't see a create opportunity line items like element, so this create records element inside of the loop, is due to efficiency. So if we had this create elements in here, it would do exactly what we want to, right? Like it would create, one opportunity line item, one product on the new opportunity. And then it would create the second one and the third one and the fourth, whatever. But it would do that and commit it to the database and then do it again and commit it to the database and do it again. And it would be, 4 or 5, 6 iterations or however many opportunity products you have. And it's super inefficient. The way that we're doing it through loops here is we're doing them all at once, and then we're committing it all to the database at once. So it's much more efficient, uses less, API calls, uses less resources for your instance. So in order to actually set up an assignment variable, you need to have, or set up an assignment correctly, you need to have a record single variable to iterate through inside of the loop. So I've gone ahead and created this already, but what you're going to need to do is hit new resource variable. You can call it whatever. I called mine create op line items. Need to select record here. And then remember the object we're choosing here is op line item. And then you just hit done. And it'll look a little bit like this. The data type is record. The object is opportunity product. And then you're good to go. There's another variable we need to create though, and that's the so the collection variable. And so the same exact thing, you're gonna hit variable. And I call the collection variables in my flows, they start with a VAR for variable. So variable op line items. Same thing, record, opportunity product. Whoops, gotta type it right. And then you need to select this allow multiple values collection piece here. And then you hit done and it'll look a little bit like this. So it's just basically saying, this is a multi-collection. So what this collection variable is going to do is whenever we go through, so we have these product records that go through, hit the loop, 1, 2, 3, we're assigning fields, but then we need to store them somewhere to iterate on later. So this multi-collection variable will do that later. So now that we have these two variables created, we need to go ahead and start doing the actual automation. So we're going to start, you're going to hit the plus symbol, hit assignment, and then I'm going to go through one that's already created, but we'll start with the first one, then you can kind of do this however you'd like. So create op line item list price. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. So what we're saying in the variable portion is this variable that we're going to change the value of, we need to kind of go through what that is. So the variable is the actual record single variable, the item in the loop right now. So remember that variable is called create op line item. So we select that. And then for this one, it was list price. So what I'm saying is the list price of this new record I'm going to create, I want that to equal, and you'll type in current. You want that to equal the value of the current line item inside of the loop. And so for me, I want it to equal, the list price equal the list price. So you'll see here, record single variables list price. So that new op line item we're going to create, I want that list price to equal the list price of the current record that we're, iterating through, or items we're iterating through in the loop. And so for this, you'll see I've done that for a couple. So I did that for a create op line item quantity. So I want the quantities to match. I want the sales price to match, product ID, and the price book entries. You need all of these for op line items to actually save to the database and not fail because they're required fields. The only nuanced thing I did here was the create op line item. So that new record's opportunity ID, it doesn't equal the opportunity ID of the record that triggered the flow, it actually equals the opportunity ID from the create renewal. So we're adding that to the new renewal, and that's how we do that. So then we're going to go ahead and hit done. And you could actually, by the way, make all of these values and fields and whatever you want. So you could name other fields here and then set their values, you know, matching some other stuff or whatever. But this is what I wanted to do for my products. Next, we need to create another assignment variable, and I'm going to go through this one with you. So this one's a little bit easier. So we're just going to call this op line item collection, or you can call it, I think I had it earlier called create op line items. I'll just call that. And then we are going to go ahead and choose the variable, the collection variable that we created earlier. So in this case, it's, you know, variable op line items. Then you're going to choose the operator add. And what you're adding here is the create op line item that you created already in the loop. So you'll see when you create, or when you hit the create op line item variable, there's a period there and it starts asking you for fields. Well, I don't want any of the fields. I just want everything that I named already, the whole thing that I already created in the loop. So we're going to go ahead and hit backspace there and then just click out. So it'll look like this: variable op line items, add. We're adding the create op line item in the loop that we just, you know, iterated through to the collection, and then hit done. So next, after this, there's going to be an after last component here. And after last, we go ahead and we need to create everything. So you'll hit the plus button and we'll go through a create element. I've already done that here. I called it create opportunity line items. For how many records to create, you're going to select multiple, and then it's going to ask you to select values to create multiple records. You're going to choose that collection variable where we stored all of those, you know, single op line items already. So we'll take a step back here and say, you know, go through this flow again. So all these products that we got from that originating close one opportunity, we created new opportunity line items that we didn't commit to the database based off of values on these products. We then added them to a collection. So we added them to this like bundle of records to do something to later. And since these are new records, after we, you know, set up all of our fields and added them all to the collection, we're then saying, okay, now create all of them at once. So that's it. Now all of these are going to be created. And then we did, remember, name the opportunity ID as the opportunity that we created earlier as the renewal. So then they'll be created and added to the new opportunity. Next piece here, we're just going to do the exact same thing, but we're doing it for contact roles. So I'm going to speed through this one a little bit faster, but for this, does it have a contact role? We're saying the same thing as before. Opportunity contact role get is null false. Only execute if the condition requirements are met. You see here I did default outcome. I actually want to change that to no. And then no contact role, just be, you know, clear within API names. And then we have create the loop. The loop is based off the get op contact roles, first to last. We have the assignment variables. We're going to do the exact same things we did before. We're going to create a record single variable that is the op contact role version. We're also going to create a collection variable that's the op contact role variable for collections. So I already did the assignment portion here, which is 2 fields. So I just need the opportunity ID to equal the opportunity ID for the new renewal. And then I need the contact ID from the actual contact of the current item in the loop. And then again, simple here, assignment variable. We're just going to call this, we'll call it op contact collection. And this is the variable contact role add. And then we'll add the create op contact role back, done. And then again, What are we creating? Well, we're creating all the records from the variable contact role. So when you're done, hit save. In my case, I'm saving it as a new version. And we're going to hop on over to a record to get this tested. All right, so we're at our test record, and this record, as you can see, is right about to close. They're at negotiation and review. And you'll notice that we have 3 products with varying prices and their quantities, and we've got 2 contact roles on the actual record itself. And what we want to do is, so we're going to be testing our automation. So if you remember, the whole basis of the automation was closed one. So we'll go ahead and select closed one for this op. You'll see that that stage changed successfully. It's great. And what we need to do is we need to actually go to the account to see if this renewal was created. So we'll go ahead and click Dickinson PLC here, which is the account that this op is a part of. You'll see in the opportunities now there's 2 of them. So originally there was one, which was this one, which is now closed one. But you'll also see Dickinson Mobile Generators Renewal. And so clicking that here, we'll go in. You'll see the renewal opportunity now has 3 products that are added. And it also has the contact roles of the original people that were there too. So what this has done is created all 3 of these. It's created these 2, and then you're good to go. So going back over here to the loop, we've done like that in that one action, we've basically done all of this. So again, if I were to close win this one, we'll go back to the account. And you see how there's a Dickinson Mobile Generators -renewal. That's because it's, you know, our nomenclature, our naming structure. But again, we now have the products, the contact roles, and this will work for any opportunity. So that's everything. Go ahead and leave a comment if you have any questions. I can help you out with some flows, and I'll leave some of my contact information and some other resources for loops and things in the description. Thanks.